So how I look at it is this: so we're young and we're going through life, and then all of a sudden I feel like we pop out of a jungle, and we're like, okay, now we're gonna go do relationships. Now we're gonna go find the love of our life, and we better get this right. And you're like, oh my gosh.
Be confident, be bold, be authentic, but don't forget to take action. This is Ordinary to Badass, where our stories empower women to step into the spotlight of their own lives and pursue what they're truly passionate about. It's time to step into the arena and become more than just extraordinary. It's time to become a badass with your host, Marie Sonneman.
Welcome to Ordinary to Badass, episode number 285. In this episode, you are going to hear from Charlene Byars. And Charlene and we talk about communication, how to work on yourself before getting into a relationship, and then what to do when you're always attracting the same type of guy. Charlene is a dating coach or a relationship coach, and she helps you to learn the art of attracting devoted masculine men. So stay tuned. I know that you're going to love this episode. Okay, so before we get to it, let me tell you what's going on in my world. I've kind of hinted to it or made little comments in the past on the podcast, but definitely moving more towards talking about introverts having the courage to seek adventure. So I'm thinking about starting to do more Instagram lives. I'll be honest, I haven't done a lot of IG lives, but I want to have like a regular session. Like, I'm going to call it, hey, yo, help an introvert out. That's what I'm thinking. And it's going to be other introverts. Maybe I'll have some extroverts on there and say something from their point of view, but it's mostly focused on introverts, helping introverts navigate this tricky world and this outgoing, loud, extroverted world. So that's something I'm thinking. I would love to hear from you, hear your thoughts on it, see if you're interested in that, if that resonates. As for the podcast, I'm going to keep having badass guests. It's not just going to be introverts. It's going to be anybody who has accomplished something badass. So I'm excited for the future, excited to see the changes. So I just wanted to keep you in the loop about what's going on. And as always, hearing your feedback means the world to me. So let me know what you think about the Hey Yo idea. All right, let's get to it.
With your host, Marie Sonneman.
Welcome to Ordinary to Badass. Whether you're ordinary or badass, I'm so glad you're here. Today's guest is Charlene Byars. Charlene, thank you so much for being here. Excited to have you on the show.
Well, thank you. I'm really excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
So before we go any further, I've got to ask you, do you consider yourself ordinary or badass?
Oh, well, I'm definitely not ordinary. For sure, badass. Yes, I love it. Yes, I definitely consider myself badass.
So have you always felt like a badass?
Have I always felt like a badass? No, not always, but for a pretty long time now, actually. Yeah, I think when I was young, I definitely was like the opposite of the badass. I was the quiet, shy young girl. But then, as I got a little older, I was able to kind of turn my light on and get into myself. Absolutely. Yeah.
Something people often wonder is, was it one specific incident that made you feel badass, or do you think it was a series of incidents that happened over time?
I think it honestly was a series of incidents that happened over time. Yeah. I think I went through, we all go through stuff, right? And we all go through different circumstances and stuff in life. And I found myself every time that I would go through certain, situations, I would definitely learn. I was honestly one of those people. You have two ways, right? You either things are going to happen, and you're either going to take from that and really learn from that experience and do better, or you're not. And so I felt like I was always that person. Like I did something, that one time, like, okay, not doing that again, and I learned, and I really was able to step into myself as the years went by.
Okay, I can't wait to dig in and hear more of your story, but words are hard. First, can you share a bio and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. So my name is Charlene Byars, and I am a certified women's empowerment and relationship dating coach. And I'm also a columnist, and I write monthly articles for Simply Woman magazine. So, people get to write to me, and we get to talk about, relationships and women's empowerment. But I have been doing this work for over 20 years. And I would say that this work truly started because of my own story. And so I'm very passionate about women's empowerment. I'm very passionate about, women having choices in their lives. And I'm very passionate about women really finding their soul aligned partner, like finding a partner that is completely aligned with them. And so, yeah, that's what I do. That's what I do. I help women have amazing relationships with themselves first, and then with the people they love.
What is the importance of having a relationship with yourself first?
Well, you got to go in first. You got to go in first, because if you are able to, as a human being, really look inwards and love everything about you, who you are, where you come from, all the good, the bad, the ugly, all the levels, all the moving parts. When you're able to do that, then you're really able to show up differently with people that you love. Because if we don't do the work sometimes, we pass that on to, the people we love. And it really doesn't help us have those relationships that I know that, the majority of us women really desire. So I always say, I said, you got to be able to go inwards and, find out, what it is that you feel about yourself, because you're the only person that's going to be with you for the rest of your life. That's it. Just you're going to have you. So that's what I always tell women. I'm like, we got to do the work. We got to go inwards, make sure we're good.
So you mentioned this idea of if you're not doing the work, then you could pass it on to the people you love. Could you give an example of that?
Yeah. So let's say, for an example, so I deal with, women in romantic relationships a lot. So that's something that I work with a lot. So, I'll break it down in that respect. So if you are, if you're a human being and you are really wanting to have a growing, loving, kind, respectful relationship, right? That would grow. Well, usually what happens is when you find yourself in relationships and things are not aligned and things are tough and things are like, it just feels like, gosh, I don't understand. Like, it's always something wrong. Like something's, there's issues, right? When they're able to like just slow down a little bit and start peeling back the layers, it comes down to what they believe, what's happened in their past and how they're showing up. Because a lot of us, we don't even know like how we're showing up in relationships, because we're so concentrating on what the other person's doing wrong. We're like, oh, that person, they're doing this and they're doing that and they're doing this. But we really never like pause and say, wait a minute, what about you? How are you showing up? What are the things that you are bringing into this relationship that you haven't, addressed? What past hurts? What past relationships? What past boyfriends have, that you haven't really dealt with that? Now you're passing this on to the new relationship. So when it comes to really understanding, yourself and relationships, you have to understand where you come from, why you believe what you believe, and how that really plays, a toll in your life. And what are your relationships like right now? Because that's the first question I ask. I said, how are your relationships with the people you love in your life? Do you have like amazing relationships and things are great, or not so much? So that's how we start.
Yeah, it sounds like what you're saying, and tell me if I got it wrong, but sometimes what we're seeing in our partner is kind of a mirror of what we're feeling in ourselves, and we're just maybe projecting it onto them. Is that right?
Yeah, because men are our mirrors, right? So whatever you believe, because if you start thinking about like past relationships and you start thinking about patterns, it really starts coming down to your beliefs. and what you believe is true or not true about men or not men. And that will definitely show up, because a lot of times women will say, they're like, listen, I'm with a completely different guy, I thought, but it's really interesting. I find myself in the same type of pattern. And that really comes down to, the core of your belief systems. But how I talk about relationships, and how I talk about relationships in the sense of really aligning yourself with someone that can be aligned with you, because we're all different, right? Like we all have different needs, we all have different wants. And one thing that I work with now is, I hear often some women will say to me, they're like, Charlene, what is going on? What is happening right now with men these days? Like, what is really happening? Because I'm noticing when I'm going out, trying to, just meet different people, meet a man, they're finding themselves what I call in this loop. So that they're finding themselves in a loop of not understanding why they keep attracting a certain type of energy. And usually that has a lot to do with your beliefs, and it has a lot to do with, polarity and what energy you're bringing. And so there's a lot of moving parts here, because that's why I teach. I teach a certain framework that really helps understand this in a different way.
So you find yourself in the circle, or just keep going over the same type of relationships over and over. What is one step that they can take to get out of that same familiar pattern?
How this works. So first of all, we need to find out if you are a single woman and you are wanting to attract your soulmate partner. Like, what is it that you really want? And so we have to start out and find out with a question that I usually ask. So I usually ask women a question, because once I get the answer to this question, then I can really understand what it is that she's truly desiring. Okay? Because I'm not just talking about all the external stuff, right? I'm not just talking about the guy has to be tall and this and that and that. I'm talking about doing this deep work so you can really find out what it is that you actually are looking for. Because sometimes people don't even understand what they are looking for, how they want to feel in a romantic relationship, because romantic relationships are completely different than just a friendship. So I teach romantic relationships, and I don't just teach romantic relationships. I teach romantic relationships so they can actually thrive, and you can have, that passion and that love, and really have the compatibility that truly we desire, that we long for. And so I always say, is it possible? Is this real? Like, our relationships aligned? Our relationships, that they can actually be great and grow? Our relationships perfect? No, there's no perfect. But is that real? Yeah, that's real. It's absolutely real. And usually we don't even get there, because we're not taught, as you know, we're not taught relationships when we're young. And this is how I look at it. I always feel like, all of us, we all have a different, upbringing, how we grew up. Okay. So we all grew up differently. And I feel like this. I said, it depends, it depends on when you were born and where you grew up. Because who did you have? Did you have a mother or father? Or did you have, just a mother? Or did you just have just a father? Or did you have a caregiver? What was your environment? So you go as a little girl, and you're in this environment, and you're starting to, as a young baby, that's when you're born, you're like this pure, clean. You don't have all the stuff yet, right? You're all great. And then what we find out is, from birth to about 7 years of age, whatever's happening in your surroundings. So depending on if you are being nurtured, if you are hearing, love, kindness, and you're being held, or are you in an environment that you're hearing a lot of screaming, you're not being held, it's very chaotic. What will start happening is that will start really wiring your nervous system. Okay, your nervous system. And it will really start shaping your belief system and what you believe is true and what you believe is not true. So how I look at it is this: so we're young and we're going through life, and then all of a sudden I feel like we pop out of a jungle, and we're like, okay, now we're gonna go do relationships. Now we're gonna go find the love of our life, and we better get this right. And you're like, oh my gosh, No, not so much. And so that's the work that I'm doing now. So I'm really helping people from the beginning how to really attract their partner and not waste their time anymore, and not be in a position that they have to continue on wasting their time, which what I'm hearing all the time now is that you have two different guys out there, right? So you have either the nice guys, which they're not so nice. No, they're not. Because really what do the nice guys do? The nice guys, they'd have no spine. They'll do anything you want them to do, but really that sounds fun, but it's not, because nice guys, it's actually a phenomenon right now. The nice guys, they literally are looking for, pretty much a woman to take care of them. And I don't know about you, but as a woman, that is not a turn on for me. Oh, no, 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 no. Because I mean, really? I mean, what about you?
No, but I'm not looking for somebody to just appease me all the time.
To appease you all the time. And as a woman, right? Is that something that would turn you on?
No.
No. So that's what's happening. So women I'm working with, they're like, Charlene, I don't want to be the mother to the guys, or truthfully, or they don't understand what's happening, or they're attracting actually, the jerks, the players, the guys that are like ghosts,
bad boys,
the bad boys, and they're like, so they're stuck in. So this is awesome. This is the pattern I started noticing. This was me too. I was in the situation. So we were stuck. I'm not anymore. We're remarried now, but we were stuck in a pattern of those two guys. So I knew that there's something needed to shift here, and I knew it started with me. And that's how this work started. That's how this all started.
So what's one thing we can do to stop looking for the appeasers, the guys that are just going to be pushover and want you to make all the decisions, or on the opposite side, the bad boys?
Okay, there's a few things we got to do. There's actually a few things. We got to slow down for a moment. We really have to slow down a little bit. And we need to find out. So I'm gonna ask this question. You don't have to answer this question. I'm gonna give you a reference of what the question is. So to find out if you're in a position in your life that you're like, I actually don't want to just date and just, do whatever. I'm actually wanting to date and really get to know great men. And I'm at a position that I want to date and not only know great men, but I want men to be able to pursue me. This is what I hear all the time, to let's go on dates, to really get to know each other. Okay. So this is the question I ask women. So when you're thinking about a relationship and you're thinking about, being with a man. So today, let's just talk about, so I am a heterosexual woman, and today we're talking about heterosexual woman, heterosexual man. Okay. And when you're thinking about a relationship, and when you're thinking about how do you actually want to feel? How do you want to feel in this relationship? What is it that you are really desiring? What's the feeling? Because it's all about feel, right? Because in life, think about that. You don't you don't think your way through, happiness. You feel happy. You don't think your way through sex. You feel sex. So it's all about how do you want to feel? So when I ask women these questions, because I'm really trying to find out where they're resonating and if they are a feminine essence woman, because usually in general, women really, really resonate with the feminine, okay? And in general, men really resonate with the masculine. So I ask women this question. I said, so how do you want to feel? And this is what I hear all the time. So the first question I ask, they usually say to me, I want to feel safe. I want to be seen. I want to be protected. And I want a man to really want me and accept me for who I am. They don't want to, they're done not showing up themselves. And they really want a man to take care of them. And I understand what they mean by that. They actually want someone to have their back, okay? They want an actual life partner. So when I start hearing this, I'm like, oh, okay, I know what she wants. Okay, she's definitely not attracted to the nice boys. Oh, no. When I hear a woman tell me that, then I realize that what she's attracted to is really the masculine energy, okay? Because there's misconceptions today about energies. And there's misconception, seriously, there's misconception about the feminine energy as if it's weak. It's not. It's so powerful. Both energies are beautiful. Both energies are needed. And both energies are not gender specific. Okay? It's not gender specific. And when you have, this masculine and you have this feminine energy, and you're attracted to, a man that you're going to feel, seen and safe and protected, then I know that you are feminine energy and you're attracted to masculine energy. And that's where the polarity plays a part. So what's happening to women these days? And it's not our fault. It's not our fault. I'm going to explain this to you. What's happening is that we are, right? A lot of us women, now these days, we have to do it all. Seriously, we're doing it all. We own our own homes. We're working full time. We're going. We're some of us are single moms. It's just constant, busy. We're just busy. Go. So what's happening is a lot of us women are in our masculine energy. We are literally in our masculine energy. And when you're in your masculine energy, what I always say about masculine energy is that's when you're up in your head. You're actually disconnected to your body. And when a woman is connected to her body, and she really is able to understand and get back to where I call the forgotten skill, get back into her intuition, her feeling. She gets out of her head, her thinking, and she's able to get back into her body. She's actually able to have what I call that spidey feeling. You never need to worry because no man will be able to fool you, hon. I'm telling you from the bottom of my heart. That's how powerful feminine is. It really is, because that's what we are all about. Because we are about receiving intuition. Women that are in their feminine and really understand it. And let me just say something. There's nothing wrong with the masculine, because me as a woman, I know how to now. The difference now is I know how to shift the energy. So I know how to be in my masculine when I'm in my masculine, when I'm in my working, and I'm going, and busy, and all that kind of stuff. But I know how to shift it when we're talking about romantic. It's different. It's different, because think about this. A masculine man, okay, is not going to be attracted. The polarity's off, because polarity's opposite. It's like yin and the yang, night and the day. That's energy. That's what makes it romantic. If you don't have polarity in a relationship, you have a friendship. And I don't teach friendships. I teach romance. I teach, passion. And so when the polarity is not there, so for example, if you have a masculine man, a masculine woman, they can be cool. They can have a great friendship, but there's not going to be polarity. The same thing. You can have a feminine woman, and then you can have a feminine man, because the energies go everywhere, and they can be great friends, but there's not going to be polarity. So you have to really understand. So the first concept that I would say, that you have to understand what it is as a woman that you are really wanting, in a relationship. And you start there.
You break down this idea of masculine and feminine energy just for the listeners who have never heard of that before or don't quite know what it means?
Yeah, so it's okay. So I wish I had a visual. Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about this. Okay, so it's like a spectrum. Okay, so just think of it as like a pole, opposite pole. So the polarized, right? And have you ever noticed? And you'll start noticing this. Okay, so just the same example. If you are in a gay relationship, okay? So in a gay relationship, remember, it's always the same. It doesn't matter. It just needs to make it romantic. You have to have feminine and masculine to make the energies, romantic. So if you have, so how can I kind of explain it? So let's say the masculine energy. Let me explain masculine energy. Masculine energy is very still. It's direction. It's very focused. It's really like, okay, I got this. I know what I want. I'm going to lead. I'm going to go. I got, it's a different type of energy. It's really the energy that we are in, where we're getting things done. Like, we're really getting things done. We're in that, like, it's beautiful. That's why women are attracted to the masculine energy, because a lot of women are attracted to the men that actually lead. They lead in the bedroom. They lead in, certain things. That's the attraction. So the masculine has energy for that. The masculine has energy for that. Now, let's talk about the feminine. So the feminine, very powerful, but it's a different energy. So the feminine is actually the opposite of that. The feminine is all about the flow, releasing, letting go. It's really allowing yourself to just like let go and receive. And women are able to just start letting go and just really get out of that go. The masculine energy is so attracted to that, because it's almost like it's a mystery to them. What is going on? Because when a woman's in her feminine, she's so in touch with who she is. She has this confidence. Like I said, you'll never worry about ever, like, is he going to be bad or good? Because you're going to know. Your body's going to know. Your body's literally going to know. And that's really having to understand what the feminine and the masculine is, and how that plays a part in romance. That's the passion. Polarity is the passion.
How can women start tapping into their feminine or their feminine energy or their intuition more?
In the intuition more. So when it comes to like really understanding your feminine, is one of the things I always tell women is slow down. Slow down a little bit. Slow down and realize that you don't have to do it all. Okay? So a lot of times women feel like, when they ask for help, if they don't do it all, because this is what's happened. Things have changed. Society is really, like, the stuff that society's telling people now, it's not working. It's not working. They're literally saying, no, it's not cool. I always say, if the majority's going right, make sure you go left. Go left, girl, go left. If everyone's going right, go left. Because this is what's happening. They're basically saying, honestly, they're saying, the more you work, the more you go, the more you do, the happier you're going to be. And that's not necessarily true. That's not really what we're desiring. I don't know about you, but I didn't desire to grow up and be a freaking workhorse and go. No, I'm more of a free and wild, and I just want to be able to really understand what I'm here for, which is my sense. Being able to really be able to have that femininity and trust that. That's what it is. When you're able to really trust you just trust, So to get into that without going through a process that I take people through, it's just an awareness at first, right? It's just an awareness. It's slowing down and really saying, how am I feeling? Why am I acting like I have to do it all? How am I showing up? Like, how am I showing up? Am I that girl? I didn't even know. Am I that one? Am I going to, like, if people are saying hi and I'm not even looking at them? Or am I that person that actually pauses and just smiles and just, takes it easy? We don't have to always be so fast. We don't have to always be so go. And again, I'm talking today about, women that are really in a position in their life that they're looking to attract their soul line partner. So if you are go, busy, and you're out and about, that's the energy that you're putting out there. So it's really learning how to shift your energy.
How did you start to shift your energy?
So when I started to do this work, it took me years. Because I did. I studied it all. Okay. So I studied it all. I studied, you can name it. I studied. I feel like I have a PhD in romance at this point. And plus I've had so many certifications. So I had to go inwards and I had to do some deep diving. And when I went in and I looked and I wanted to change my dynamics, because I remember I told you, I have a story too. So the reason why I help women now do what I'm doing is because that was me. Because I was married. I was married to my ex-husband for 23 years. And I was in love with this man. And I had a relationship. And I had 4 kids. We got married very young. We did the whole thing. And I never had any desire. I didn't ever want to leave. But I didn't understand that you can't change a person. You can't. You just can't. You can truly show up and you can be the kindest person and do all the work yourself. But that person that you're with also needs to decide that they want to do the work with you too, right? And they either do or they don't. And so now I know that, one of the biggest decisions you're ever going to make is like who you pick from the beginning. Because 95% success of a relationship, it actually really comes down to who you choose from the beginning. So I have developed what I would say, a method that really helps people understand different modalities, which is first, like we were talking about, which is really understanding what it is that she's wanting. What is she wanting to feel? So if if a woman's really wanting to feel what I said, then I understand that she really needs to understand and learn polarity, because polarity is what's making it romantic. And then the second frame that I teach is limiting beliefs, because we have to figure out, like we talked about earlier, what is it that we truly believe? Because if you truly believe that all men are jerks, and there are no good men out there, well, trust me, that is what's going to keep showing up. So when you learn and when you do that work and you find out what your belief systems are and why you believe what you believe and what are the things that have been, kind of keeping you stuck, then we go through the third process. And the third process is all about feminine embodiment. So I'm also certified in feminine embodiment work, which feminine embodiment work is a practice that really helps women get out of the thinking, and back into the body. So it's a form of meditation, but regular meditation is very masculine when you think about it, and very, and meditation is so wonderful. But I know when we're talking about women being able to like tap into their feminine and really being able to just relax, because this is what's happening. We're holding on to a lot of frozen tension, okay? A lot of frozen tension. And that frozen tension really plays a part in how we're showing up and what we're doing. So this practice, it's pretty amazing, actually. So this practice, it works off of 4. So it's basically sound, music, movement, and really understanding this embodiment. So that's the third thing that I do. And then we get to learn, honestly, a whole new way of dating, which I call conscious dating. But we don't even get into that until we do the work at the beginning. Because if you're listening to this right now and you are like, okay, because I want you to hear this. If you're thinking to yourself right now, you know what? Yeah, I've noticed that I'm a woman, and I've noticed that I am really attracting, either the nice guys like we talked about or the jerks. And I'm understanding, like, no matter what I'm doing, then that keeps on happening. That's where I just want you to slow down right there. Just slow down right there. So that's the first thing that I was saying, like I just said earlier.
So how does communication play into all this? Because, they say men and women, like men are from Mars, women are from Venus. How does communication play into it?
Well, men are actual different species, and women are different. We're different people, and the way that we process stuff is different. And when it comes to communication, I've learned, and especially like, again, if we're talking about being in a relationship. So if we're being in a relationship, and there's a different way of when you're dating someone and now when you're in a relationship. So if you want me to talk about communication, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go into a relationship. So when we're in a relationship and we're talking about communication, the most important thing when it comes to communication is microscopic communication. Because we're all thinking that we can communicate, and we're all like, well, I'm communicating. So let me tell you what a lot of people think communication is. They're like, they go and they're like, blah, well, I communicate. And they're like, got it. No. So communication to me is different levels. And what happens in a relationship? This is where This is where the trouble happens. So in a relationship, you have a partner and something happens. You get this, we get that little feeling, whatever it is. Okay. You get your trigger, and you get that feeling. Often, right at that moment, what we do is we ignore it or we blow it off and we're just like, I don't want to do anything. And okay, those little moments will literally start piling up in you. Because if you're not taking a moment to actually tell your person and ask your person questions and communicate in a way that they can understand that and really hear you and not feel attacked, then that's going to come out later. Okay. This is where the problem comes, because we don't want to be honest and we don't know how to be honest. And we're afraid to be honest. And we don't know how to do this. So this is what I mean by communication, microscopic communication. So if your partner says something to you and it does that, it is up to you 100% to clear that. How do you clear it? You ask a question. So let's give me an example. So you can ask a question to your partner that they can actually be like, answer the question and not feel offended. Okay. So how do you ask that question? So I'll give you a little example. So let's say my husband said to me something and I said, oh, this is me asking the question. I'm just doing Charlene. Everyone has their own way of, talking to their person. I'm going to do Charlene. Be real, be honest, and do it. Okay. And have some humor sometimes, actually. We're too serious. Okay. So it'd be like, seriously, we're too serious. We got to loosen up. So it's kind of like this, babe. Yeah. I have a question, but just real quick. When you said blah, 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 did you mean whatever you thought the meaning was? Okay, whatever it was, did you mean blah, blah, blah? And then usually often your partner will be like, no. And you're like, oh, okay. Because let me tell you something. Because when I first felt that, I swear to God, you know why that affected me? Because I have this deep core issue that I feel like you're going to leave. You have to get real. You have to stop being able to not tell your partner the truth. Because when you're microscopic honest, that's when you actually get real connection. Because we all know, we can feel it. You can feel when something's off with your partner. You can feel when they're withholding. And when you withhold, it's the worst you can ever do to your partner. It's not fair. It's kind of like, well, I don't want to tell them I want to hurt their feelings. That's bullshit. That's not fair. Because let me tell you something. I don't care how long you are with your partner, because I was in a relationship for 23 years. So I'm coming from every aspect here. So I'm a woman that's been in a relationship for 23 years with 4 kids. And if you're not completely honest, then there's a problem here. So that's communication. Communication is really understanding and talking to your person in the most honest way and not withholding. Withholding is something that you shouldn't do to your partner. And if you're withholding, something's up. Something's up.
So as you said that, I know you're talking about in a relationship.
Yes.
But then to me, where it leaves out is if you're just dating, you still have to have some form of that same communication. Otherwise, it would be like, who are you after you've been dating for a while? You know what I mean? But
well, it depends. Let's talk about dating. So dating, okay, because you're jumping all the way to and you're like already at the dating part. You don't get to the dating part until you, as a woman, you got to really understand, what it is that you want. You got to be really comfortable in yourself. You got to understand your limiting beliefs and why you've been attracting to certain guys and why you end up with relationships that end up not working out. So when you do that work that I talked about, and we're talking about dating, okay, because dating is different. Dating is all about getting to know different people. So when you're dating, we don't need to have this amazing communication with the man. No, no, because when you're dating, that's not what I teach. When I teach dating is actually the opposite of that. Just relaxing, letting go, and not doing the typical, going on a date like it's a job interview, asking all the questions. Because if you're dating, and you do it in the way that we're talking about, just getting to know different people, you're talking more in a way of just getting to know someone. So the communication is just okay, so it's more like this. So let me ask you a question. When you're a little boy, what did you really want to do when you grow up? That's dating. Okay. Dating is not in the beginning, all the questions and, because you're not going to know who that person is until you give it time anyway. You got to give it time. You got to give it time because everyone thinks, this is what I tell people. So we all think that we know someone. All of a sudden you're like, oh, I know that person. In the beginning, you don't, because what you have is what I call a picture view of what you think that person is, but that's not necessarily who that person is. So when it comes to communication with dating, I always tell women, just have a good time, just relax, just see the one. Yeah, totally. Like, yeah, because eventually, when you're dating and you're having a great time and you're meeting different people, eventually you are gonna be drawn to one more than another. And if that one is more drawn to you, then that's the guy. That's gonna be your one. That's gonna be the one that is going to be able to like really hone in on you. And then at that time, when you're ready to like, okay, I've dated and I really got to know this guy and I got to know some other people, because you got to let men honestly, like I always tell women, I said, hello, I said, you're the prize. They love to chase. So yeah, so dating with communication, I do it a little differently. I want women to just chill out and have a good time.
Okay. So
no communication while you're dating. No, more like, no, you know why? It's not. No, you can't. Because I want you to trust your body. Because when you're talking too much, then you're not trusting your body. And usually I rather have the guy, we want him to kind of, do a lot of talking and stuff. We don't want to take the lead and do all the talking and all the communication. No, we just want to go and have a good time and see what's up.
Love it. So good.
Yes.
Charlene, let's end with a tip to encourage women who are in the arena fighting for the life that they want.
Fighting for their lives. Listen,
fighting for the relationship they want.
Yeah, and you know what? No, everything's gonna be fine. Everything's gonna be fine. You know what? Like I always say, nothing's wrong with you. You're not broken. This is all of us. We all don't really learn relationships. Okay, we just don't learn relationships, and that's fine. But the best part is that we can learn it. We can learn, different ways to do different things. So if you're fighting for your life, let me just say something. Relax. And just start slowing down. Just start slowing down and really start seeing what it is what energy do you want to be around, right? Like, what energy you're like, I'm done with that energy. So you don't have to worry about it. Because if you're going on a date with a guy and he has terrible energy, like you're like, oh my gosh, this guy has the worst energy. Oh, he's a jerk. Guess what? You don't have to go again. You get to choose. That's what I'm saying. You're not committed to anybody. You know what I mean? We're just getting to know everybody. And let me just give one little tip. If you're on a dating site and you're going on a date and you have a good connection with this guy, do not get off the dating site. And let him know, I'm dating. And do not get off the dating site, because too often you'll go on a date with the guy, and then all of a sudden you think you have to get off of the dating site, and then you'll date with this guy, and then you kind of get stuck with him, and you're like, oh, and as a little more time goes by, you're like, oh, what? Not the one? No, that's not dating. That's not dating anymore. That doesn't work anymore. Do not put, honestly, ladies, do not put all your eggs in one basket. No, as a single, empowered woman, you have choices. And you don't owe anybody anything. And you actually have a right to actually date different guys at the same time. Because we're not talking about you're getting in a relationship. You're not marrying them. You're not telling them you're going to be your girlfriend. You don't even have to sleep with the guy. You don't have to do any of that stuff. You just want to see the ones that are really aligned with you and are really sticking around.
And Charlene, how can we connect with you?
How can we connect with me? I'm all over. But I have right now a program. And the program's called the Chosen Program. And it's for single, successful women really looking to attract committed masculine men. And the best way to get a hold of me, I actually have, gosh, I wish it was here now. As we speak, next week, we are going to be launching our webinar. And it's how to attract masculine men in 30 days or less. Because you don't want to waste time. No. You want to start shifting that energy and start getting out there and meeting some great guys. I swear to you, from the bottom of my heart, there's a lot of great men out there, just like there's a lot of great women. And yes, of course, there's a lot of jerks, of course. And there's a lot of jerkettes. You know what I mean? It goes both ways. But you can get a hold of me. You can reach me first. You can always go to my website, which is Charlene Byars, BYARS.com. And I'm all over social media. I'm on Instagram, which is MS Charlene Byars. I'm on Facebook, which is the same thing, MS Charlene Byars. I have a private Facebook community for women called Level Up for Love. I do a lot of free training, free resources. I have about 3,000 women in there, all single women, and relationships, about relationships. And then I'm on YouTube. I'm on TikTok. Oh my God, I had so much fun on TikTok. Level Up. On TikTok, I'm Level Up for Love. I love all the TikTok stuff. Yeah. If I can do that all day, that's what I would do. I would just be at TikTok having fun. But yeah. And I always say, you know what? If this actually is resonating with you, I would say book a call with me. Just book a call with me. It's a free 30-minute discovery call. And we can find out, what we'll do is we'll find out, where you're at and, what it is that you're truly desiring and how we can work together and come up with a plan.
Thank you so much, Charlene. You've been a total badass and I've enjoyed hearing your story.
Oh, thank you.
And with that, we'll end our show. To all the badass women out there staying in the arena, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, own it and get after it. Okay, wasn't that episode great? It was just in time for Valentine's Day, so I'm so excited. But let's do a quick recap of 5 things from this episode, or 5 takeaways from this episode. 1, when you're able to love all parts of yourself, then you are able to show up differently with the people you love. If you don't do the work, you pass it on to the people you love. 2, understand where you come from and why you believe what you believe and how that plays a role in your life. How are your relationships with people you love in your life right now? 3, trust your feminine energy. Slow down. Be aware. Ask yourself, how am I feeling? Why am I acting like I have to do it all? How am I showing up? 4, when you're in a relationship, focus on microscopic communication. If your partner says or does something that triggers you, it's up to you 100% to clear that up and ask a question. For example, when you said blah, 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 did you mean blah, blah, blah? And you can even say why it triggered you. Number 5, when you are dating, communicate less and go out and have a good time. Make sure tune in on Thursday to hear 3 reasons why Charlene Byars is so badass.
Now that you've listened to this episode of Ordinary to Badass, we want to hear from you. Go to our website, ordinarytobadass.com/podcast, and submit your own experience on how you took your life from ordinary to badass and get the chance to be on a future spotlight episode of the show. That's ordinarytobadass.com/podcast. While you're waiting for the next episode of the show, wipe off the sweat, dust off the dirt, and get back in the arena.
It's weird.